you guys keep petting yourselves, you're gonna go blind.
Roll intro. Hey YouTube, welcome back. We are Bourbon on the River. I'm Jesse, this is Eric, and that's Frosty. Today, we are recording the first video in a series of double blinds. We have a couple of friends in our Bourbon on the River group who have provided us with some samples. We have no idea what's in them. We have no idea what they even might have chose from in order to put in it. So we are really going into this blind. I don't know, Frosty, what you're shaking. Eric said not to touch it anymore.
So back at Christmas, Justin was good enough to give us a series of 12 blinds, and one of the things that we started looking at was try to figure out what the proof is, whether or not there was a finish, whether it's a rye or a bourbon, and then try to guess what the bottle is. Watching some of the shows on TV, that type of thing, or the shows on YouTube, you see them doing a shake test, and essentially what they're looking for is how fast the larger bubbles disappear. I am by no means an expert at this. It's 100% guess and comparing it to other bourbons that I've tried that I know what the proof is. So when I look at these and I do a shake, I see around 105 to 110. That's my guess. Could be way off. What do you think?
I'll check them out. Let me see. I think y'all are crazy. All right, Eric, so shake it and tell me what, are they bourbons or ryes?
Yeah, I don't have that skill.
Oh. Frosty, you don't know what a rye bourbon
But
looks like?
I do think 2's a little higher proof than 3.
And I looked at it and thought
I'm
3
gonna
was a
call
little
bullshit.
higher proof
Yeah.
than
No.
2. So,
Could be.
and it could be that they're close enough where we're not really going to be able to tell that much of a difference.
Let's pour us a little sample of those.
We are about to find out. So, don't forget which one you put where. Although I guess
just
as
got to
the-
remember to leave enough for Eric.
As a scientist, I probably don't need to tell you that.
That's right.
Y'all are making me dizzy.
And for our next trick,
So the way I would approach the blinds next, then I would typically compare the nose on both of them to see if I can see anything that stands out.
that's really nice.
And unfortunately, on the 2 of these, I'm pretty much getting a very similar nose.
Did you say unfortunately? Because that's a pretty damn good nose.
Number 2 is
Yeah,
really
it's not a bad nose,
sweet.
but I'm getting the same nose. I feel like on both of them. Two might be slightly sweeter.
I say I get a lot more of a smell on 2 than I do with 3.
Yeah, I agree.
But they both smell really good. Very classic bourbon notes. 2 smells a little oaky. I'm kind of excited for this. Harsh, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you right now.
Thank you, Harsh. Cheers. All right, enough of that nose. I got to get into this.
Oh man.
There's definitely some heat on that one.
That is fantastic.
Hits in the back.
That could
Right
almost
along the
be
sides.
that could almost be a George T. Stag.
Yeah, that's
That's a real good drink.
I'll tell you what that's not. 105 proof.
it's
Just say
not.
Just
I
say
agree. Based on what I saw, based on what I'm tasting, that drink's a lot higher proof than
I don't know what
110.
your science degree
That-
is in, but I'm going to go ahead and revoke it right
No,
now.
it is engineering, so it's not chemistry.
Oh shit.
I don't know. I get a lot of peppery off that. I think that's a rye.
Number 2?
I think number 2's a rye.
2 is much hotter tasting than 3.
I don't know. Is that? So I'll tell you, the front of it is oak
On 2?
on 2, still on 2. So the front oak, there's vanilla, there's caramel. It's a bit sweet. There's definitely pepper on the back. I'm trying to
I don't feel like it's
decide if it's dry pepper or proof pepper, but I think it's proof.
I think
don't
it's
think
proof
that's
pepper as
rye.
well. I
either.
don't think it's a rye.
I would go with I think that's a bourbon.
I don't think either one of these are finished either.
I do not think 2 is finished in any special barrel.
God, that's good though. I could drink that all day.
I think 3 gives me a little bit more rye
So-
note than what 2 does.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I personally think it's a rye. I think it proofs above 120. I don't think it's finished. I don't know. Could it be Handy? Could it be a Thomas Handy?
Oh man, 3 is fantastic too. These are harsh. I owe you, buddy. These are great. All right. 2. So you put it out there. So 2, I'm going to say is a bourbon. 2, I think is. I'm going to say 120. Not finished. You know what? I'm going to say 128, and I think this is I would think this is a Stag Junior.
I'm probably going to have to agree with Jesse on a few things here. Number 1, type, I think it's a bourbon proof. I'm thinking around 122. No finish, and it runs right along that stag line for me as well. Very close, I think.
It's got the very, like, Buffalo Trace has a very known kind of sweet, caramely, upfront palate.
That was my initial reaction, and then I started getting into it, and I did get that hint of pepper, which made me.
Yeah, the pepper's there, but
Which made me think
there's
that-
proof calls in that or
But
not.
yeah, you guys might be right there.
I don't think so. For me, Handy gives me a lot of bubble gum, like a real heavy.
Yeah, I didn't get any of that
rye,
from
and I don't
that.
get any of that on number 2. Number 3. You want to go first since you got none left? I don't know.
I can too, because 3 has very similar hints to 2.
Just similar notes, I think.
I'll go with, I'm going to also say it's a rye. It's a little lower proof. I'll say 115, unfinished, and
God, we're gonna be so far off on these.
the
It's
bottle
gonna
guess
be
is
embarrassing.
almost impossible, because
There's so much out there that
if the YouTubers out there could see what bottles we see right now, it could be 100 different bottles. So I can't venture to guess what 3 is.
So my take on 3 is it definitely has less bite than what number 2 had. I think the proof's slightly lower, and I agree with about the 115 range. So I say it's a bourbon. He says it's a rye. Not finished, I don't think at all. On a bottle guess, there's no way I could guess a bottle on this either. But I might go to something like one of the Elijah Craig bottles, is where I would go with it.
Jesse?
I don't hate that. I feel like Eric lost any credit in this video because he wouldn't even try to guess here. This is a bourbon. It is, I'm going to go closer to 120 proof. I think you're a little low. And it's not finished. And if I had to guess, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is a rare. It's gonna be one of the limited releases from Wild Turkey. I get a little bit of
Okay.
something on the back that I don't typically get. At first, it reminded me of like an A.H. Taylor barrel proof, but I'm gonna go turkey on this one.
Well, I got to see. I got to take a peek. Do you guys want
Yeah,
to know?
number 2, I'll get number 3.
Let's see where we're at. What we got like
This is the
that?
number
What the hell
2.
did he do?
Okay, you guys are going to be pretty pleased with yourselves, because that is a bourbon. Number 2, it is a bourbon. Number 2 is 132.2 proof.
Wow.
It is a Parker's Heritage Double Barrel Blend. So this is going to be unfinished, bourbon, 132.2, Parker's Heritage bottle.
13 year.
So, the interesting thing is here, we both kind of came to the conclusion that the proofs on this are very close. You guys went both higher on it. So here I am with my shake test. Doesn't mean shit, evidently.
It ain't 105 there.
It ain't 105. This one is 133 proof, and it's a 13-year bourbon,
Okay.
ECBP.
Oh, you were pretty
Elijah
close.
Craig Barrel
Elijah
Proof.
Which
Craig,
one?
baby.
Wow.
C923.
Ah, that was Fantastic bottle.
So I got a bottle.
Well, I obviously need to recalibrate my rye taste buds, so
I think we need to recalibrate everything.
that's true. That's true. So it's
Oh,
almost
man.
time for the shades then.
A few more drinks.
Yeah,
Time for the shades and a rye flight.
no kidding.
So aside from us being really bad at this, these are fantastic. I would absolutely, obviously, pick up either one of these bottles any chance you could get. I'm a huge Parker's Heritage fan, huge ECBP fan. I mean, I'm sure anybody watching this has heard about C923 and how great it was. It definitely lives up to it. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yep.
I'll have to second that. Even though we did a terrible job of picking what these were, they're both fantastic drinks.
Other than your proof stuff and your
Well, I don't feel so. I don't feel so bad.
I hit a bottle. I'm
Easy
happy
there,
about
right,
that.
guy?
No, I don't feel so
Easy.
bad because over 130, that's easy to confuse the peppery.
See, I immediately thought they were both over 130. So the one thing that I would say,
Well, that's why you said it could be a Stag Junior.
right. So the other thing is, and we've not talked about this in terms of how we want to do things on our channel, right? We're pretty new.
Yeah.
Some folks consider double oaked as finished, and some people don't, right? So you are technically moving the whiskey to a second barrel, but that second barrel hasn't had anything else in it before. So it's not like you're finishing it with a wine or
You haven't changed the composition of what you're putting into. You're still putting in the oak.
correct.
So
But you could
I
be
can see
toasting
why
that
that's not
oak or
considered a
doing
finish.
something different. So at some point, right, as we get a little better at this, right, maybe we formalize our ratings and what we're guessing at and what they mean. But
Yep.
in the meantime, you both sucked, and I feel like I nailed it.
Well,
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you could, let me know what you think, right? Comment below, subscribe, all that stuff Reaver normally says. There's a bell somewhere, whatever you guys YouTubers do. We appreciate you tuning in.